Hey guys, hello and welcome back to my channel. This is Shitij, aka the Rustic Wanderer. In today's vlog, we're gonna be making Indian style fish curry at home. The reason being, most of the restaurants around, especially the Indian / Nepalese restaurants, they use salmon or prawns in the name of seafood, which doesn't give too many choices. But I found a white fish that we could easily make some amazing street food style dhaba style fish curry at home. So today I'll be making that. So let's get started. So the fish I'll be using is this one, and that's a Pengasius fish. I guess that's how you call it. It's mostly the region of origin for this is the Mekong Delta in Vietnam, but this is the most widely consumed fish all over Europe and US at least. And that's about 1 kilo pack, and we're gonna marinate it first and then start preparing the curry. So let's start off with the marination. I removed it from the freezer to let it thaw for a while, so it's thawed and ready for marination. So we're gonna dice it open and then start marinating it. Okay, so to begin, we wash this with fresh water. And we take the pieces, they're already cut out for me. What you could do is you could also remove the skin, depends on how you like it, or you could proceed with the recipe as it is. For me, it depends on my mood, so let's see how I end up making it today. So I feel like leaving the skin on, so let's start on with the marination. So first thing you're gonna need is a teaspoon of salt. Next, you're gonna need a handsome serving of ginger garlic paste. Then we're gonna add a little bit of lemon juice, about 1 to 1.5 teaspoon to tenderize it. Then we're gonna add 1 to 1.5 spoons of turmeric to give it a nice color. And an optional ingredient is gram flour, or besan as we Indians call it. So if you have it, you can add it in here. If you don't, you can just skip it. So the quantity is approximately 2 to 3 spoons, just about enough to slightly coat the fish. Okay, so now we're going to mix everything together and let it rest for about 30 minutes. You can just leave it outside. You could use a spoon, you could use your hands, you could wear a glove, whatever works for you, or just shake it like this. So let's mix it all up and let it marinate, sit and marinate for about half an hour. What I also like to do while marinating is to use mustard oil. If you have it, it tastes really amazing. So add like 1.5 spoon of mustard oil so that it coats really nicely. So while that marinates, we're going to start preparing the curry base. And you can, at this point, you can remember that there are two ways how you can end up using your fish inside the curry. One is you could either pre-fry in mustard oil, which is what I'm going to be doing today, or you could directly add the pieces inside the curry in case if you have, let's say, filleted pieces given to you in advance, right? Depends whichever way you like it. I am going to pre-fry so that the fish itself has a really nice flavor and aroma before we start adding it to the curry. So let's start preparing for the curry base. So we're gonna need onions and we're gonna need tomatoes. So onion you could chop by yourself in thin long pieces if you're chopping yourself. I managed to get pre-chopped onions, so it saves me some time. So they are chopped into fine cubes like this. And then let's chop up the tomatoes before we move on to the rest of the ingredients. Okay, so that's tomatoes, that's onions. Then we're gonna need some curry leaves for nice aroma. These are dried curry leaves, but if you have access to fresh curry leaves, which is normally in an Indian household, you will find them around the corner. Try use the fresh curry leaves. Then we're gonna need a few cloves, 4 to 5 of them. Be a bit careful when using cloves in the curry because when you let the curry sit in your fridge, cloves are gonna help ramp up the spiciness of your curry. So manage your red chili and the other spices accordingly, because if you eat it the next day, maybe it would be much more spicier than what you eat fresh right after you're done cooking. So be very careful with how many cloves you use for this. Okay, other than this, you would need green chilies if you have them. Unfortunately, the store nearby had only jalapenos, which don't go well with this curry. So now we start preparing. So for a dish like this, it normally pays off to have a deep dish that you can use with a thick base so that you could heat up the oil and do the cooking and make like a good quantity. But this is as deep as it gets when it comes to thick base pans and pots for me. I have another deeper one, but that has a very thin base. It's just going to burn the fish while I try to cook it. So let's pour in about 2 spoonfuls of mustard oil in here. And while the fish is waiting to finish marinating, we're just going to turn on the heat to medium flame or medium hot pan and wait for the oil to warm up a bit.
A few moments later.
Okay, so the oil is nice and warm. So what we're going to do is we're going to take few pieces of the fish at a time and put them in the hot oil. And the idea is to just pan fry it a couple of minutes on either side until it's slightly golden brown, and then remove it from the oil. If you leave it for too long, it's going to get stuck at the base. So be careful when doing this. Then let it fry on one side and then flip it over to the other side when slightly golden brown. Okay, so the fish pieces have been fried. Now the oil is nice and hot. Time to make the curry base. So we're going to start off with cumin seeds. Nice generous serving of cumin seeds. If you're already using mustard seeds, mustard oil, you can skip the mustard seeds. Otherwise, you can use them as well. So by this time, your kitchen is going to have a really nice aroma. So we're going to wait to have these just slightly roasted and start getting the aroma of the cumins. And once that's the case, we throw in our curry leaves while constantly stirring to not burn anything. Okay, and then we throw in our onions. Then we cook the onions with the cumin and we add our cloves. Normally it takes about 2 to 3 minutes for the onions to cook properly. So let's cook them properly before we start adding the spices.
A few moments later.
Okay, the cumin and the curry leaves are starting to give out their aroma and the onions are almost cooked. So now before we add the tomatoes, we're going to add our spice mix. And in this spice mix, we're going to add another spoonful or at least half of ginger garlic paste. Then we mix everything up and let it cook until the spice mix starts to ooze out some oil. That's when you know the spices have been nicely cooked. So you see the masala is starting to ooze out the oil. It's now the perfect time to add our tomatoes to the mix. Okay, so the tomatoes have started oozing out some water. We're gonna mix it a little bit. Add maybe 1 or 2 teaspoons of or spoons of water, just a little bit, to make sure that the spice is cooked properly before we start making into a curry base. It's also at this point you can learn about 2 different ways of making this curry. One is to put this on the side, let it cool down, and then use a blender to blend everything up into a smooth paste, if you like it that way. Or you could do it my way if you don't mind having these chunky tomatoes and chunky onion pieces in the curry. So I'm gonna add water bit by bit and make a curry base as it is. I'm not gonna blend anything. While this cooks, we're gonna start putting pieces of fish back into here, and we're gonna keep the flame low and let it simmer. And every once in a while, we're going to start breaking down the fish into pieces without needing to stir too much. So that's why we put a little bit of water at the base so that it doesn't burn and get stuck to the base. But yeah, now is about the time to marry the two and start getting the final shape of our fish curry. So that's it, all the pieces are in here. Now we just have to keep adding water bit by bit and let it simmer. And in the meantime, you could figure out a carb of your choice. I am going to pair this with this sort of masala rice that I made just a couple of hours ago. I added some soya chunks and some cloves and turmeric, that's why the yellow color. Normally, since this fish curry is a little bit oily, so it pairs well with rice. Although there is nothing stopping you from pairing it with a carb of your choice. You could use mashed potatoes, you could use roti if you have access to it. You can even have it with bread if you want to. So I'm gonna serve it with rice once it's all done, cooked and ready. And till then, I'm just gonna chill and have some coffee or tea and just wait for it. Oh, recently I also found a Kit Kat. I don't know why finding a Kit Kat is a bit difficult in here. I have to be very cautious when I'm looking around through the chocolates. There are a lot of Western brands here, and even the Swiss chocolates are easy to find, but Kit Kat somehow is a bit elusive here. And also, as you can see, I'm using the Rode mic with the same magnetic setup, so I'm wearing the lanyard inside, and that's why I was able to do the cooking vlog mostly hands-free. And I think I'm gonna stick to this setup, and I'm really liking this one, and allows me to cook while as I normally would, while also making a vlog for it. So it's a bit less hassle than I had with the phone before, where I had to hold it with one hand and then do everything with one hand. Alright, so towards the end of the vlog, I'm just going to put the closing shots with the food served as I sit down to enjoy my meal. I hope you enjoyed this vlog. If you're a pescatarian, do try this recipe at home. And if you're a vegetarian, please don't get offended. I mean, we're going to have another vegetarian recipe coming soon, now that I'm getting back to my cooking segment of the vlogs as well. So I'm going to look around for some veggies, and maybe we'll come up with a veggie recipe next time. So like this, there would be a nice mix of recipes depending on whatever your dietary needs are, so everybody could enjoy nice, Indian homemade cuisine. And most of these dishes you won't find in a restaurant, especially in the places where I have lived. They don't serve these kind of dishes in the restaurant, even though these dishes are very common for an Indian household. Anyways, till it's time, enjoy the closing shots of the food. And this is Rustic Wanderer signing off. See you next time.